Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some more Manor Lords, shall we? Picking up where we left off with our complete beginner's guide, and our city, well, should I say our large village, is coming along nicely. If we want to get to a town, we gotta get even better, but we're moving nice and slowly. So as you can see right here, we've got our dyer's workshop, and they're turning our surplus of 130 berries, which, you know, is a year's worth of food, into dye. And it's time to go to the trading post and talk about how to do trade. So you click on the trading post, and you can hitch an animal to the trading post to deliver stuff to it more quickly, so it always has an animal reserved if you like. And you could put a family on there, which we're going to need to do. But we're going to go over here and we're going to go into trade. And what we want to do is, for dye specifically, everything defaults to no trade, right? So we have no trade for all of these things. And we want to go over to down here. These are items and dye. Now, if we want to sell dye, though, we have to open a trade route, which costs 24 wealth. So you can see we have 11 wealth. So we need a little bit of money before we can do this. Now, what you do is you say export over here in the left column where it says no trade. We're going to switch dyes to export. And this gives you the price in this column. It says 4 wealth for each dye. And then it says, well, how many do you want? What's your desired surplus? So the desired surplus of dyes is how many would you like to keep? And then everything over that, how many would you like to sell? So I'm just going to say I'd like to keep 10 dyes just in case I need it for my people. And then anything over 10, we will sell it. Now, nothing's going to happen because we're in a position where we don't have enough money to buy the trade route. Now, some of these trade routes are cheaper, like if you want to sell firewood, you know, but we're not going to do that. We're focusing just on exporting our dye, and that's kind of what you do in Manor Lords. Like, you look at your area that you have access to, and you start trying to deal with, okay, well, what's my crop fertility like? And what can I grow here? And then what resources do I have that I can hoard and then process into something worth selling so that I can make up for any deficiencies that I have in my own settlement with meeting my villagers' kind of requirements to upgrade. So, like, if we want a tavern, well, we could build a tavern, but we can't run it without ale, and we're going to need items to do that. And if we want clothing, well, then we're going to need another source of material like wool from sheep, and that's why we're saving up to buy sheep by selling dyes. So we'll get there, and if we want to get more money, the best way to do that is to start upgrading more of our existing burgage plots. Now, it is, I can't remember if we talked about this, but let's go through it anyway. So on this burgage plot that's level 2, there's nothing going on in the backyard. But if I click on this, now you see in the left column, these are like the tier 1 options that you have. But then all of these in this right grid are specialization upgrades. So we could make this person a baker. And it's twice as efficient as the communal oven. Or we could make a blacksmith or a brewer, a joiner, a cobbler, a fletcher, an armorer, or a tailor. And all of those things are great, but if you do that, then that family just does that job, and they work out of the house. So they will not be available in the pool of jobs elsewhere. Of course, we want those things eventually, but we don't have enough wealth anyway. But if you don't set them to do any of these things, then they will just go about doing regular tier 1 stuff, but they'll provide you with wealth because their burgage plot has been upgraded. So this burgage plot, for example, we want to upgrade this, but they don't have food access and they don't have fuel access. Now, also, there's nobody that lives there. But this is giving you an idea of, okay, well, what's going on? Why don't they have those things? Well, they don't have those things because they live kind of far away, I guess, from the market. But we should have... Yeah, we only have one type of food, though, which is berry. So we're kind of running low on other types of food. We don't have a lot of meat because we're not hunting a ton. And what this tells me is to make sure that we can consistently meet their requirement to have... well, this person is like, I got all types of food, but they get first pick. To make sure we could consistently meet those requirements, we're going to need to build some more backyard extensions, like a chicken coop, more vegetable gardens, things like that, in our houses that we don't want to upgrade to specialization. But I think we're trying to build, down here. I'm just going to fast forward it, and we're going to build a livestock trading post eventually. Let's just see where we're at. We have plenty of timber. Not very many planks. Now, we could also, I'll pause it and go to the trading post. We could also sell stone. So stone, unfortunately, only sells for 1 wealth, but that's not bad. And we could say, you know what? We have a lot of stone, so I'm going to export stone, and I'm going to make sure that we always have 30 planks, which seems like a pretty good number, or 30 stone, rather, and then export everything else. So that's not a bad way to make some cash. And then berries we could sell for 3. So, interestingly, berries actually only sell for slightly less than dye. So, dyes aren't exactly the biggest money maker. And you could see some of these other things, like candles, for example, sell pretty well, weapons and things, just at different prices. But what you could do is be like, okay, well, what do I have a lot of? Like, what do I have a surplus of? And we do have a pretty good amount of firewood. I don't want to sell so much that we can't heat our homes, but because we're consistently making this, I'm going to export firewood, and I'm going to make it so that we keep 100 firewood and sell everything else, and just see how that does for us. Now, we have to pay to establish a trade route. It's 2 wealth, and I'm going to do this. And then we have a trade route for that. But notice how doing that means that each subsequent trade route has become more expensive. So now it's 12 for stone, and if we want to sell dye, it's doubled to 48. So you have to choose carefully what you want to sell. Now, there is, and we might take it, this development point, which means that trade logistics reduces the cost of opening new trade routes. So this is something you could take if you want to mitigate that cost. Make it only 25. Pretty nice. Now, we're going to keep an eye on our wealth. It's at 9 because we spent 2. But eventually, traders will roll through and start to purchase things from us. And you'll just see, like, our money go up. Like, this person is pulling in. And, you know, did they buy anything, or are they just loading up our... they might have just been loading up... Who are they? Well, we can't even mouse on them, so they're just somebody, some NPC from another area. We'll get... Oh, you know what? I think we have to have a family working here for this to happen. Yeah, there's nothing... The problem is they can't... They tried to buy stuff, but there's nothing stored inside because we have no families here. So I'm going to put a family on that job so that we can actually get stuff going. All right, so now if you look at the trading post, it's got dyes here, and they're delivering there because I set export, but I have no trade routes established. Now look, we just made 4 wealth. So somebody just came and bought something. And what did they buy? You know what? Let me see this. Right. So let me walk it back. I'm going to actually read this because we're getting into territory of the game where I'm not 100% certain myself, as I'm still learning. And my guide is going to become more of a play-along guide where we learn together because I'm going to surpass my own knowledge. But I'm going to double-check this. So the game has good documentation. So let me go and just say, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? Help. Trade. Here's what I want to find out about the trading post. I'm not exactly sure, but I think what might be happening here with the trading post is you don't necessarily need to buy a dedicated trading route for the resource. People might come and buy it, but it's not a guarantee. Now, here's what I'm uncertain of. I don't know if, and we'll just kind of do science to figure this out. I wish Escape closed that help panel. Anyway, we'll do science to figure this out, but here are my 2 questions. Okay, so I think all that was in there were dyes. So I think that person bought 1 dye for 4, which is why we got 4 wealth. They could have bought 4 firewood, but I didn't see any over there. So here are my 2 questions. Number 1, do you need to buy dedicated trade routes for these items, or can just people randomly come and buy them? And is purchasing a route just making it more frequent that someone comes every single month to buy that good and purchase the surplus? So there's that question. Or is buying the route only necessary if you're trying to import the good with regularity? And maybe somebody comes and buys and sells what you have, but you don't know what they're going to be looking to buy, and you don't know what their inventory is. But if you buy a trade route that's dedicated, then you could guarantee they will buy this or they will sell this. So even if we don't have a trade route, we could still sell stuff. We're just up to the whims of what the passing traders want. And that's okay, if that's the case, because then we can just sell dyes and things when we need to. Or at some kind of rate to get us some money. So I'm going to speed it up, and let's see here. So you can see we're basically just loading up dyes. That's all we're getting. Seasonal resources are going to disappear when it gets cold. So this means that the berry deposit is shrinking. So we need to pick that before it goes away, because it's cold. It's December. We're at 59% approval, which is pretty reasonable. The hunting camp. Oh, we got another family. Okay, we're great. Let's see. So they finished the livestock trading post, and we don't have enough wealth yet. But what we want is, I'm going to go to trade to just set this up. I want sheep, so I'm going to import sheep, and they cost 30 wealth per. And I want to have at least 2. For now, like this. And you see how if you click on the trading post on the general tab, it says you have a pasture space for 4, which can hold 4 sheep. But if you don't have enough space, they might run away. And it can hold 2 big animals, oxes and horses. So I can just buy sheep up to 4 and store them here until we go to farming and we build a sheep farm. So let's get a sheep farm going. And we can kind of put it just, down here. This is fine. And then what you want is to have a pasture space for the livestock. And you can just kind of like, connect this to the sheep farm like this. And it has pasture space of 27. So that's an enormous pasture, and we'll just keep that here. So we'll look at that when they finish building this. We'll talk about what that means. We do not need a family working this livestock trading post at the moment. And we're up to 23 wealth. But our wealth will go away because I have a demand in for livestock trading. So if somebody stops by, then we will purchase this. Let's see if they buy anything. We're at 23 wealth. Let's see what we have in here. We have 10 stone and 7 dyes. Oh, that's right. I'm selling stone. Oh, I'm selling stone and firewood, I think. But they haven't put any of the firewood over here yet. Well, let's see what they buy. So we have 7 and 10. Let's see if they buy anything at all. Or that was just them loading it up. It could be. Yeah, they might not have bought anything. They might have been like, dyes and stone. I don't need this garbage. Oh, somebody bought something. Well, I had 8 dye and 20 stone. I don't know what they bought, but we got some money there. I haven't been able to find that there's like a really good way to track what people are buying and selling. Like a log of, a ledger or something where it's telling you the buy and sell price and the quantities and the times and stuff like that. Or who is buying and selling. I don't know if they're going to import anything more involved with the trading right now, but they just kind of come by and you'll see this number go up. But it's nice because you really can control like how much you sell. They finished the sheep farm, great. And now here you could see that there's pasture space for 5 animals. So we can get up to 5 sheep, which we want to get wool. We don't need anybody working here though, for the time being. Now I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to look at the berries, and the berries are gone. So once the berries are gone, we're going to go to the forager hut, and we don't need anybody working here. I'm going to take them off. The storehouse has a family. The granary has a family. And what we're going to do is focus on some different types of labor. So I'm going to go ahead and throw somebody on the saw pit. How much stone do we have? Did we get all the stone from down here? Yeah, there's nothing here, so I could put a family to work over here. I'm going to leave one family unemployed for building if we ever need it. It would be cool if on the forester's hut I got a heads-up display or something where it showed all the trees that they have planted, so I could just get a feel for their progress. Now you could see, by the way, I'm going to show you our influence. We have 258 influence. You get 250 influence once you build the manor, I believe. And then you can get more influence as you upgrade the stature of your town and maybe more administrative stuff. But you also get influence from our tithing. So the 8 over 250, because the 250 is just a set bonus for building the manor. The 8 that you get, I think it's from building the manor. It's either from that or from a development level, but I'm pretty sure it's the manor. Everything else is coming from tithing. Now, we're tithing without anybody working at the church, so I don't know what working the church does, like what the benefit of that is right now. But it's not required to get people their needs. So like these people right here, they almost have everything they need, but we need another food item. So if you look at food, you could see we have, plenty of berries, but we've eaten all of our bread. We've eaten all of our meat. Trapping trapping might produce meat every once in a while, but people immediately destroy that. So somebody bought something, we got a little bit extra wealth. Now we have enough money to buy a sheep if we want. But I don't think that that's really what we are excited about. We could also sell planks. They sell pretty well if we want to make some extra cash. I feel like it's probably worth our time. Yeah, as you can see, we're running out of food. Bandits. Okay, so this is good to know. We have 100% public order, and we've got robbed by bandits. So it's not local crime that is promoting that theft. It's just bandits nearby. So if we want to get those bandits out of here, we'd have to muster an army and rout them. Now, if I go to V, you can see I'm getting there with having a militia, but we're still not quite here. We're missing some equipment. Now we don't even have enough equipment to arm the units that we do have. But we could send these guys into battle. If we wanted to go over here and like take out brigands, we could certainly do that. We might try that, but I'm not sure if we have enough yet. That would definitely be a situation where we save the game and just explore that. Okay. Now look at this. Oh, I have 20 flour. Nobody... Okay, great. Well, then what we're going to do is we're going to bop somebody onto the communal oven and we can make some bread. So this will give us another food supply. I forgot that we aren't using... I know we got robbed from some grain, but I forgot about all that flour. So they immediately have claimed some flour and they're going to bake some bread for us. Now we can use our wealth. Oops, somebody just gave us 10 money. So you can see we have a bunch of dye right here. If we were to purchase a dedicated trader for dye, I think we would sell it much more quickly. But anyway, here's what I think we need. I'm going to pick this house right here. And I'm going to build a backyard extension that is... a chicken coop. Now, I don't have anybody to build it. So that's a shame. But that's okay. We'll get there. Oh, actually, it just instantly built. And you could see there's chickens back here in the backyard. Look how awesome that is. And so now, eventually, these chickens are going to give us eggs, which is indeed another type of food, just to help give us a more well-rounded diet. Now, they're getting flour, and they are starting to bake bread. So you can see the bread. Now, no unassigned families to guide the ox. And that's because I've employed everybody. Now, one thing I'm actually going to do here is... How many dyes do I have? I have 29. I think that's actually okay. I'm going to take a family off of dyes for the moment. I love making the dyes and we're selling them, but I'm taking them off because I don't want to use up all of our food in the winter. I want to make sure that we have enough food saved up. I don't want to turn all of my food into dye just yet. We're getting a ton of planks. Look at that, 104 stone. Heck yeah. Okay, so we have a lot of stone, and we have firewood. I'm also going to go to trade, and I'm going to sell planks. We're going to export them, and you can see they sell for 2 each, and we're going to keep a surplus of, 30 is actually pretty good, 30 planks. And try to just sell everything else that we have that's extra there. All right. And we could also turn off our tithe of food if we feel like we're going through our food too quickly. All right, so you can see all these things up here. Oh, we just sold a ton of stuff. Somebody just came and bought a bunch of stone and a bunch of firewood. So we are up to 74 wealth, just like that. Okay, tremendous. We have 14 families and space for 15. So what this means is we should start expanding even further with some burgage plots to get a few more folk in here. So I'm going to just have a house kind of... We could build just like this and put 2 in. We're up to 104. So now the trading is really happening fast and furious as we sell a bunch of stuff. We have plenty of timber, plank, stone. They're buying dyes reasonably. If we look at the trading post, we still have a little bit to sell. Firewood is the main thing that they're crushing. And we're about at our... We're keeping 100 firewood, which is currently fuel for 9 months, which is good. Any surplus, we sell. And now what do we want to do with 104? Well, obviously I want to buy livestock, buy some sheep, get those in here. But I think it's probably a good idea for us to go right here. And I'm just going to drop in for 15 wealth a vegetable garden. Get some more food coming in of a different type. So these people have no fuel, they have no food, they have no clothes. It is not good. Our leather situation is not very high. So even though we have trapping, and even though, we've got some hides here. Oh, actually, how many hides do I have? Yeah, nobody's working at the tannery. So I would need to just put somebody on that job. And I wish I could, I feel like they're replanting the forest a little bit. I'm going to take somebody off of this job for now and put them on the tannery. So we might want to just start going for iron and clay too, to get a little bit of extra cash coming in and some new resources. Awesome. So you can see we're up to 147 wealth. And at the trading post, we're just doing a great job selling all these dyes, these planks, and this stone, and any extra firewood. So by opening up just those small things and setting the limit so that we don't sell all of our food or all of our firewood or all of our dyes, we're bringing in some wealth now and really starting to increase our options. We want to build some more specialization areas for sure, and it's not a bad idea once we get some more families to start pulling laborers off and having something like a tailor's workshop, so they can produce clothes cloaks and gambesons. We could sell those, of course. We could make shoes. All of these things are great. We want these things, more weapons with the blacksmith, of course. And then we can move over here and start harvesting these resources. And we are up to 14 families and surviving our first winter. Everyone, I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun. We're just kind of moving at a nice pace, but we are not starving to death. And you can see we actually have meat, bread, eggs, and berries now. So we're getting a little bit more variety in our diet. I'll check you all in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Take care.